It's Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Josh Newman. He is a nominee for the California State Senate. He is running in the 29th Senatorial District. Sir, I think it's fair to say that folks did not expect that you would be one of the two nominees for the 29th Senatorial District, running against a well-known Democrat, Suki Kang, and a sitting Assemblywoman, Ling Chang. What'd you do right? Quite an impressive victory.
I think when you say it wasn't even expected in my own family, Brad.
Right, exactly.
So what did I do right? What did we do right? I think we obviously snuck up on some people, but it took what is I think, depending how you look at it, a very straightforward approach, which is went out and talked to as many people in the district, irrespective of party.
But sir, a district for the California State Senate is massive. It's almost 1 million people. It's not as if you can just talk to a few people. You needed to talk to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people. And somehow you were able to take a district that covers 3 counties. How many cities did you say?
So all our parts of 17 different cities and 3 counties.
It's a remarkable feat. Mr. Kang, mayor of Irvine. Now, Irvine was not in the district, which brings up separate issues, but still, what did you say to these people to convince them to put you over the top?
Well, or enough people.
Right.
Not over the top, but second.
Well, but over the top
sure.
to the victory.
So what I said, and I'll continue to say, it's very simple, which is basically when you vote, you're hiring somebody to go work for you. And so when you cast your vote, hire somebody that you truly believe will go to Sacramento and work for you.
Okay.
And your family and your neighbors.
So what's in your resume that convinces them of that? Because I've seen a little bit of your resume, and I can see why some folks were convinced.
Convinced?
That you would work for them. Yeah, in a good way, in a good way.
My resume is from not a professional politician, but reasonably, I think, sort of well accomplished, I think qualified to go serve.
You're being humble.
No.
You're being humble. Let's start with what happened in the 80s.
Okay, so I graduated Yale University.
Yale.
Yale University,
yeah,
yes.
Just Yale University, that's all.
You gotta go somewhere.
Exactly.
So, and to my knowledge, I'm the only member of my class, of Yale graduating class 86, to join the United States Army.
Why'd you do that?
At the time, I had an inclination. I wanted to go, probably adventure as much as anything,
okay.
But I thought it would be an interesting experience to serve my country.
Right.
It turned out to be totally rewarding. I had a great time.
Good.
So served in the military for 4 years. And since then, having gotten out, moved to California after getting out of the Army.
Are you from back east?
Yeah, originally. Okay. But since '99, I've been proud Californian, and have done a bunch of things I think that not only leave me well qualified, but make me sort of, I think, well suited to understand what people want out of government.
And give me a sense, sir, as you were talking to people, what do they want? What do people in the Orange County, LA County, San Bernardino County triangle want?
I don't think it's too different, Brad, than other parts of California or anywhere for that matter. So it's not only what they want, but what they don't want.
Okay.
What they do want is somebody who is thoughtful, committed, energetic, obviously reasonably well qualified, but who will work for them. I mean, that is what public service is about. What they don't want is to some degree what we see. They don't want professionals. They don't want career politicians.
But let me ask you about this notion of professionals, career politicians, because I understand this desire for a new face. But when I go to a dentist, I want a career dentist. When I go to a lawyer, I want a career lawyer. So how do you kind of balance that with, look, politics is, we need experts at a certain level.
Well, so I think that's actually a good place to start. So when you go to a dentist, you want somebody who's well-trained at a technical level. Politics, consider what the qualifications are to be a dentist and to be licensed in California.
Sure.
Consider the qualifications to run for state senate.
Well, there are 25, 30?
I don't think there may be an age requirement.
Right.
They're very vague, right? Residency, you have to have, established residency within 30 days of filing. You can't have been convicted of a felony for, financial or fiscal mismanagement or something like that. But beyond that, there really aren't qualifications. So I think what people look for, it's not that different than 100 years ago, is they want somebody who will represent them well.
Right. But is there something to be said? Look, if Josh Newman is victorious, in 4 years, he will have had 4 years of experience in government. Will he then be a career politician? and should not return, or should we take the advantages of those 4 years and let him continue to serve? You see where I'm going?
No, I totally see. So the question is will my experience be in government, sort of doing good work for people, or as a politician? Will I be a better public servant or a better politician? I'd like to think if I'm a better public servant or as good, and I decide it's worthwhile, I get reelected. Just because I'm a better politician doesn't mean I'm.
I guess you're making, and I get where you're going. You're making a distinction between public servant and politician. I mean, look, I cover politics for a living, and so I actually kind of like some of the folks I interview on a frequent basis, and I appreciate what they're doing. And so I'm always kind of intrigued by this notion of demonizing the career politician because there's something to be said for expertise, but I understand what you're saying.
But it's not what you do for a career, it's why you do it. Right? So I think that's where the distinction is relevant. So if you do it to be a good public servant, you are de facto a good politician. If you do it simply because politics is sort of your chosen profession and you like power and you like influence and you're setting yourself up for afterwards, that is in fact I think what people are responding to. We see a lot of that.
Let's talk about the district. The district, as we said, it covers parts of 3 counties. Traditionally had been a district held by Republicans. Bob Huff is the incumbent. He is, I believe he's termed out.
Correct.
He had been GOP Senate leader. There is a perception that the district may be trending towards the Democrats. The Republican nominee is Ling Chang, who is a member of the California State Assembly. As it's public knowledge, her party urged her to run, even though she was only in the Assembly for 1 term, because they were fearful the Democrats could pick it off. So tell me about this district. I mean, you are a Democrat yourself, so it's a classic Dem-Rep race. Talk to me about how you make it to victory.
Well, when we talk about a classic Democratic-Republican race, the one thing that doesn't get considered in that context is there's a big chunk of my district, and in fact most districts, that has opted for no party preference.
It's a different time.
So it's a very different time. So if you talk about the relative balance of Republicans and Democrats, often what people forget to note is where one party's increased or declined, the big increase is in NPP voters. And in my district, it's about 37% Republican, 35% Democrats.
And is that moving? Are the Dems on the rise, even though NPP's more on the rise?
Dems are only on the rise as a proportion of the electorate.
I understand.
So because Republicans are probably, at least on an actuarial basis, on the decline. And so Democratic registration has remained about steady. You have a bunch of citizens that are sort of line-up Democrat and have registered recently. But the big cohort that's increasing is NPP voters.
Let me ask you about the impact of the presidential race. I think it's fair to say that Mr. Trump, throughout the state of California, is seen as a controversial figure. There are folks that would argue that he could be a drag on Republicans. And I'm wondering, as you campaign, do you feel as if the Trump factor could actually be of benefit to you in your purple district?
It's probably, Brad, if there's a benefit, it's that it'll change the complexion of the electoral the turnout in November.
To your advantage, presumably?
Well, to the advantage, I would say, not of me necessarily, but of somebody like me. I mean, which is what I like to think is it's if I'm a Democrat, I'm a registered Democrat, I don't necessarily benefit from Donald Trump being on the ballot. But I think if you get people thinking about what they're looking for in an elected official, I think that will benefit me because I'm of a certain type of person where I think I'm running in a way that aligns pretty nicely with somebody who's concerned about Donald Trump as president, but equally somebody who might have been excited about Bernie Sanders as a candidate as well. And it's not about any overt similarity between me and Bernie Sanders. It's that larger similarity, which is people want a difference in their politics. People want to have some assurance that the people who are running to represent them are real people who care about real issues and who won't get sucked into kind of the party games. He
is Josh Newman. He is a nominee for the California State Senate, the 29th Senatorial District. My name is Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition. Good job, man. That was